What do you remember of Bunny, Bear, and Piglet from the Windows team?
Bunny, Bear, and Piglet were three little stuffed animal mascots that the team had. Bear is the oldest one. Bear was the mascot for, I believe it was Windows 3.1. Bear was just a little stuffed animal, stuffed little teddy bear, that was carried around by one of the development managers, dev leads. He carried it around sort of like a security blanket, like a kid would carry a stuffed animal. And but of course, this was the day where people expected software developers to be somewhat eccentric, and so everybody just like, yeah, there's Dave. He carries a stuffed animal around. What are you gonna do? Not you, Dave. Different Dave.
I once walked in and I was holding my stuffed orca, and he had his stuffed orca, and we met in the hallway by mistake. So
so it was the meeting of the stuffed animals.
It was.
But of course, one of the things that you do when one of your developers carries a stuffed animal around is, of course, you steal said stuffed animal and hide it, and then cause the other Dave to say, has anybody seen Bear? And then there would be you'd leave a clue. It's like getting colder, and this was all in fun. Dave seemed to be okay with the joking around. He was semi complicit in the joshing. So it was not mean spirited. It was all in this spirit of the exercise. So Bear was the mascot for, I can't remember if it was Windows 3.0 or 3.1. If you go and find the either 3.0 or 3.1 Easter egg, it will show a list of credits, and it will also show an image. And I believe one of the images that cycle through is a little stuffed animal teddy bear. So that was Bear, and I believe Bear is even credited as Bear in the Easter egg. So that was Bear. Bear was the mascot for one of the Windows 3 point somethings. And one of the ways that Bear manifested itself in the product was that all of the internal functions that were used to communicate between the window manager and the graphics system and the kernel tended to be named Bear and then a number. To tell people, is like, this is just an internal function, like don't call it. But we knew that, like, oh yeah, the function that takes a device context and returns you a region that tells you which pixels are visible on screen right now, that's Bear 23. So if you're going through the code, then there would be a header file with a macro saying pound define and give it a decent name, but then it maps to Bear 23. And so if you were reading the source code looked normal. But then if you looked at the final output, the name of the function in the DLL would be like Bear 23. And so the idea here was just to tell people, it's like, you're not meant to call this function. This is just for our internal purposes, and we can change it anytime we want. And so Bear showed up and hung around as the name of internal functions in the system. In Windows 3.1, in Windows 95, Dave picked up a new stuffed animal called Bunny. And so it was just a little stuffed pink bunny. So now we had two stuffed animals we could steal from him and hide, which of course we did. And so Bunny sort of became the mascot of the user interface team. So most of their internal functions were called Bunny something something. Dave also bought a larger stuffed animal bunny, and so the smaller one was nicknamed 16-bit Bunny, and the larger one was nicknamed 32-bit Bunny, because Windows 95 was the transition operating system where we moved 16-bit, moved pieces of the operating system from 16-bit to 32-bit and added support for 32-bit applications while continuing to run the 16-bit applications. And so now we had three stuffed animals. We had Bear, who was semi-retired at this point. We had Bunny, and we had 16-bit Bunny, and we had 32-bit Bunny. Meanwhile, the kernel team sort of felt left out of all of this stuffed animal mayhem. And so one of the members of the kernel team, Mike, he had a stuffed animal Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. just a little piglet sitting in his office. And so he decided that, I'm just going to decide Piglet's the motto, the mascot of the kernel team. And so kernel functions, the internal kernel functions were named Piglet something something. So now you will see functions called bunny and then a number, or Piglet and a number. And that also means that these are functions not meant to be used by applications, but are instead used by the operating system to accomplish its own internal tasks.